Welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence of Sound, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thank you as always for making your way to this series, checking out this episode. You know the drill. If you like what you hear, what you see, hit that subscribe button. We bring out 3 new interviews every single week, one Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And today I am so excited to have back Leslie Odom Jr. It's good to see you again. We got to talk last year about a new record, and here you are. You're back with a Christmas album.
Yes. Look, I'm like you. I'm not quite as prolific. You do 3 episodes a week.
Every week, man. It's 3 of these.
Bro, I've listened to a bunch of them, but I didn't know they were that. I didn't know you were that sort of voluminous with your
No,
release. It's amazing.
Please keep it coming. I mean, this is all about you, but I'm going to take it right now. This is.
I'm back with another new album, but I got to get on your level, Kyle. My goodness.
No, man. Congratulations. Let me tell you, the Christmas album, you know, has been done many times, countless times or whatever. People do Christmas albums, and you never exactly know what to expect when someone says, oh, they're going to have a Christmas album. It's like, okay, is another one of these. Maybe it's because you so exceeded my expectations right off the bat, and I'm a fan of your music to begin with, so it's not like that bar was low. But, like, first off, I say it anytime, but I feel like every artist should aspire to write a Christmas hit. Like, you can make an entire career off of just one song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the first time I heard the opening track on the Christmas album, it's a song called Snow, and I had to check my notes, like, wait, no, this is an old song, right? This is a classic.
That's
it's
right.
Not.
Yes. That was the goal, man. You know, we first and foremost, can you close that for me, babe? First and foremost, it is our second foray into the Christmas album. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I put out a Christmas album not too long after I left Hamilton, really because fans were kind of hitting me up on Twitter and stuff like, you got to record a Christmas album. You got a Christmas album kind of voice, which I didn't know if I should be offended by, but we did it. And I'm so proud of it, you know, but it is very much a snapshot into where I was artistically as a recording artist, and also what our resources were, our very limited resources as a little collective. You know, it was really me and my producer and the musicians that we knew on the East Coast. But now, after Mr., you know, we do that. I knew after the Christmas album, like, the next challenge was to record an album of all original music. It was very scary, but I knew that if I was going to be taken seriously as an artist at all, you got to do that. And I'd also been told for years, like, well, if you put out a piece of music and you expect people to find their way to it organically, you know, you're out of your mind. You have to tour a record. You got to get behind that thing, and you got to play everywhere in the country. You got to, you know, middle schools, county fairs, you got to, you know, do the whole thing. And so we had prepared the tour for a year, and, you know, coronavirus happens and the tour gets canceled. So like everybody else, I was caught in the middle of something, you know, COVID and restrictions to our movement caught me in the middle of something. And so tour gets canceled, and I'm just home, man, you know? And I wasn't feeling creatively inspired to make anything for a while. Like a lot of us, I was just bracing for impact. You know, I didn't know how close this thing was going to get to home, how serious it was going to be. But, you know, I don't know, 3 months in, you know, I'm looking around, and my wife is certainly tired of me sitting on the couch. And yeah, I got my COVID test, and I figured out a way to get the band back together. And this time to work on something creatively, and to get to build off of what we had made with Mr. You know, it was all these new relationships now, working with Theron Nephew Feemster, who was my executive producer along with Joseph Abate on Mr. You know, we got back together, and we just continued from where we left off. You know, well, it's Christmas music, but we were trying to go even farther than we pushed ourselves on Mr.
Yeah. And again, you get that right from Snow, which I will say just sounds like a classic right from the beginning in all the best ways. And so here, there are 2 originals on here, and they bookend the album, Snow and Heaven on Earth. Even coming from Mister, when you know it's going to be a Christmas song, like I was thinking, like, you know, for artists who have been tapped to write the Bond theme songs, there's sort of a sandbox you play in, you know, there's sort of not parameters, but you know, like, do you find that when you're going in, when you're writing Snow and Heaven and Earth, that there are certain touchstones that you might want to include?
Yeah, that's a great question and a great way to think about it. Right. Christmas, part of the reason I know I was inspired to make this is because the only time really as Americans that we allow ourselves to pause in the way that we've paused for the last 7 months is the holidays, really, though. Those 3 weeks between Christmas and New Year's. That's the only time that we are home like this, that we put ourselves on self-imposed lockdown, and, you know, things slow down. And so it definitely had a different feel and a different vibe. The closest thing I could relate it to was like, it felt like the holidays, you know, just home with my family, cooking and spending time together and laughing and playing games and stuff. So trying to take our mind, you know, distract ourselves a little bit. But Christmas is about tradition in America. You know, it's part of the reason why, you know, you can get away with singing the Christmas song, and you can get away with singing Frosty the Snowman, because they're just such deep memories. It's such a deep memory bank that we have from childhood and our own personal good memories, bad memories, but memories, you know, that we're tapping into. So yeah, we knew we wanted to continue pushing ourselves to write original material, but we also knew that with a Christmas album we could tap into those memories. So you come in with a long list of your favorite Christmas songs, and, you know, the bar for me is always, if this song, I might not best the original. That's not the goal. The goal is to just, you know, I don't want this to be a drag when it's sitting next to the original version. Right. So yeah, we brought in Little Drummer Boy and Oh Holy Night. And, you know, we also expanded that table too, because I have to say, you know, my family, I have a big blended family like so many Americans. And there are Jewish people in my family. And you know, this is 12 years now of celebrating Hanukkah and Passover, and, you know, those wonderful high holy days of a different faith, you know, incorporating those all into my family's holiday tradition. So I have a traditional Hanukkah song on the album called Matsuru. And what else did we do? We did Old Lang Syne, of course. And yeah, we're just trying to also, you know, expand that table too, and make this a celebration of all the holiday traditions, you know, if we could.
And adding your own stamp in there. I mean, I think that's got to be the other thing. It's like, you know, how traditional do you keep, you know, songs that have been covered, again, so many times. Little Drummer Boy is a great example of that, because here it's a very familiar thing, but you've added something new. I mean, what that choir is doing in there really does, like, of course I can sing along to it, but I'm getting something new out of the whole experience on that first listen. You know, that's...
I hope so.
Yeah.
They forced us to up our game. We had a really sparse arrangement of that. It was really all percussion and voice. And then they sent us back their take on it. We sent, you know, my producer, Joseph Abate, found this choir in South Africa, this youth choir. They're amazing. And they sent us back something that was just so rich, and they far exceeded our expectations. So we had to go back in the lab and make that thing to what they had sent us.
Yeah. It's so great. And my singer Matsuru, is that how you say that?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got your wife on that too. I mean, it should be pointed out. I mean, it sort of made that a family affair.
Yeah, like I said, man, this just reminded me of the holidays, you know. And I started imagining. We still don't know, right? But I started imagining what this holiday season would be like. What might people be in need of this particular Christmas? A Christmas unlike any other. And I you know, I was thinking people are going to be sort of reaching for joy, something joyful, and also something that might leave room for them to cry a little bit and feel a little bit too. It's been a long, hard road. So I think the album encompasses all that.
Yeah. One of the surprises I found on here was that you'd covered Winter's Song, which originally Sara Bareilles, Ingrid Michaelson, I know them doing it. And I thought, that makes sense. Keep it in the Broadway family a little bit right there.
Yeah, and I did it with the brilliant Cynthia Erivo, who I've worked together many, many times. But Cynthia and I have known each other for years, even before Broadway. Cynthia is the godmother to our daughter. So even with Cynthia, we're keeping it in the family in a lot of ways. Just it feels, I wanted it to feel like, for what it's worth, Christmas at the Odoms, Christmas in our living room.
Right.
With a bunch of incredible musicians.
Yeah. Well, again, it's so knocked out of the park. I mean, I had it on last night, and of course, here we are in the middle of October, in Halloween season, basically, and my wife wouldn't leave the room either. She's like, he's doing every single one of my favorite songs, so it's...
Malaka that was another one that we wanted to, like that whole, we... in a few years, we don't do it every year, but every now and again, if we save our pennies up right, we go to Hawaii, we've done Hawaii as a family, less than a handful of times, but those have been special times. And so my wife was like, I want to be able to do a Christmas concert in Hawaii when the world opens up. So yeah, Mele Kalikimaka that's our pitch to Hawaii. Like, next time we come back, we want to be in a theater singing to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's sort of a bridge to what you're doing outside of this album too, because what we do here before the album is this one-off single that you've re-recorded, "Cold," with Sia. So what brought that on? Because that's not part of the album, but it sort of leads into the album.
Yeah. "Cold" is Sia has been a friend, and she's just been a friend, for a few years. I met Sia backstage at Hamilton, like I met so many of my heroes during my time there. And we talked and exchanged info. And then I got a tweet, a DM from Sia, like, I don't know, 2 years after I'd left the show, asking if I wanted to have coffee. And we met, and she told me about this movie she was writing and directing. So I did, a movie with Sia a few years ago. And from then on, like, as I really started to press into the pop world with my sound, I really leaned on her for just guidance and advice every now and again. I sent her the record and said, kind of half joking, if there was anything you wanted to remix or collab on, just let me know. But, more importantly, I just wanted you to know where the sound is going. And then if you want to write in the future, it was really a future play. It's like, Mr. might not be your thing, but I just want you to know where I'm going. So if ever you think I can hang in your world, let's make something. And she got back to me and she said, I'll sing on "Cold." I love that song. And so she's given that song a new life, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal when an international pop star hops aboard something that you've made, because it's going to bring fresh eyes to the project. It's going to bring fresh ears to the project. I got a voice memo from my manager. He was so excited. Mumbai, they're playing the song in Mumbai. Wow. We've never been played in Mumbai, but it's just it feels like it is quite possibly the right song, the right sentiment, the right collaboration at the right moment,
That's a powerful moment. I mean, you guys sound great together. And I want to ask, you mentioned, making a movie with her. The other side of your life, of course, is your acting life. And one of the upcoming movies that I've got to ask about is One Night in Miami, which is supposed to come out later this year, which has you playing, if I got this right, Sam Cooke, but it's also teaming up with a young Cassius Clay. I'm here in Louisville, so... the late, great Muhammad Ali is buried maybe 1.5 miles from my house, So tell me about this experience and what we can expect from this movie.
Man, a really special little movie that I ran away from as long as I could, because I got to tell you, I did not think that there was a version of Sam Cooke in me that was going to be believable to anyone. But I found my way thanks to the brilliant and skilled direction of Regina King and this very powerfully written script by Kent Powers. It started as a play, and they've turned it into a film. Amazon has acquired the rights. It'll premiere in theaters on Christmas Day, and then it goes to Amazon. You can watch it right from your living room, Martin Luther King weekend, so the top of January next year. And it's based on a true event. Of course, nobody was the event is, young Cassius Clay goes to fight his first heavyweight championship bout with Sonny Liston, and nobody expects Cassius to win this fight. Sonny was the champ and the champ and the champ. And nobody expected him to win except Cassius. And so there's no victory party planned in Miami in 1964. So Cassius spends the evening hanging out, with his pals in a hotel room in the black section of town. And his pals just happened to be Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown. So they hung out all night together. The very next day, Cassius says in front of the press, "You will refer to me as Cassius X." So it was at a really important, time in his life and development. And the evening, as if you could imagine, I don't think it had any kind of import to those guys other than, they knew it was a big night for their boy, for their Cassius was like a little brother in a lot of ways to Sam and to Malcolm. So they knew it was a big night for Cassius, but it would be within a year, Kyle, Sam would be gone and Malcolm would be gone. So then that evening is like, if you could imagine, you spend the night hanging out with your friends and, 3 pals. And if in a year, 2 of them are gone, yeah, you do go back and you go, oh my God, what was the last night? Let me turn this thing off. What was that last night? And what did we talk about? And what, you're trying to put the pieces together in reverse. But, no one but those guys was in the room where it happened, as it were. So this movie supposes it is a leap of the imagination, imagining what those guys might have talked about, what might that night have consisted of. And Kent Powers, it's unlike a night, unlike any other night, that you could imagine, because it's a special night, but he kind of just has them in there hashing it all out, Yeah. It's there's fireworks.
Well, I know. I mean, it would have been an important movie anytime. I'm sure there's. It could not be more. Speaking to the time is what I'm trying to get at here. A more important time for this to come out. So, really looking forward to this for a lot of reasons. Does it also have you singing? I mean, you're playing Sam Cooke. Do you end up singing in the room?
I do, and I that was one of the reasons why. So even after I got the part, Kyle, I swear to you, then I got the part, and about a week and a half later, my calendar, they started filling up my calendar with like recording. And I was like, what are these for? What are these recording sessions for? And they said, you have to record the Sam stuff. Not in a million years did I think they were going to have the actor playing Sam Cooke actually singing the Sam Cooke stuff. There's plenty of biopics where the actor lip syncs to the artist. And like, I thought maybe they were interested in me because they knew I could approach the singing, like that I would know where to breathe and those kind of things. But yeah, I do. I sing all of Sam's music in this film, and some of the, I do You Send Me and Sentimental Reasons, and a couple of the B-sides as well. And then of course the big one, the aria, his masterpiece, A Change Is Gonna Come.
Man, that must have been something right there. I can't wait to hear that. I can't wait to see the movie. I really can. And I know it's been even a more exciting year for you. I'll wrap up by saying, you mentioned Hamilton. It comes out on Disney Plus in the middle of the summer. The entire world can get to see it. I know that's probably somewhat of a constant in your life, even as you get further and further away from actually being on that stage. But that must have turned it right back up to full volume, at least for a moment there.
As much as you can be turned up to full volume in this current, with the current limitations. Yeah. But it's a really strange thing. My wife was like, maybe it's, as far as that goes, maybe it's for the better, because that film wasn't supposed to come out until next year in the theaters. And so we were kind of quietly, we had been talking for a while, but I wonder how our lives will change. Are we going to be able to go to the grocery store? Like, what's that thing? And look, the thing comes out and everybody's in the house. So in a lot of ways, my life hasn't changed at all. There was a whole lot more activity on my social media accounts, but that's about it, But more important than that, because it ain't about my life changing, more important than that, they were able to bring this show into people's living rooms at a time where quite possibly people needed it the most. And so, listen, that's all you want. That is all you want as an artist. You want to make something useful to people, something that people, that matters to people in their lives and in their homes. And Hamilton has certainly done that again and again and again.
Yeah, I mean, to be a part of something communal all over the world, or at least whoever can see Disney Plus around the world, at least. We certainly enjoyed it over here. And I bring that back around to what you're doing. We loved watching you in the movies and Harriet, and this new Christmas album is so good, whether it's Halloween season or the middle of summer or whatever. Dude, it's so good what you're doing. So congratulations again on this, and thanks so much for taking the time to talk about it today.
Thanks, Kyle.